I quit drinking alcohol 9 months ago, so let's talk about it. Hey guys, my name is Samantha. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. This is brand new for me to talk about over on YouTube. I've been posting my podcast here, but I haven't really done like deep dives around why I quit drinking alcohol, how I knew I was a high functioning alcoholic, and everything in between. If you're here, thank you for being here. I know alcohol is a tricky one. It is so widely accepted, but it is such a toxin and does so many horrible things to our body that I am having a hard time even understanding why it's still a thing. But I would not have said that last year. A few days ago, I turned 40 years old, which is a huge milestone. I celebrated by running a 10K in Vegas. I did the rock and roll race, which was phenomenal, by the way. That was such a vibe. I was kind of sad though, because I had a cold, and so I wasn't running at like my full potential. But, looking back, that's still like really cool that I went to Vegas and I ran that race. Now, last year, me would not have ran that race. I was a completely different person. And it's really wild what can happen in a year. And I credit literally everything that has changed in my life to giving up alcohol. I gave up one thing and I feel like I've gained literally everything. 39-year-old me couldn't even run a mile straight. In fact, I didn't even start running until May of 2024. So for me to have ran a 10K race for my 40th birthday and have a body that was capable of doing that, that was freaking epic. I can run for at least 45 minutes straight. And last year on my birthday, I couldn't even run for a minute straight. Like, that is absolute winning. Fist bump, high five. Last year, me was constantly binge drinking. And yes, I am a high functioning alcoholic. If you look up the definition of a high functioning alcoholic, I've actually got it pulled up right here on my laptop. So a high-functioning alcoholic is someone who suffers from alcohol use disorder but can maintain the appearance that they have control over their drinking. Their hygiene is fine, they can socialize without drawing attention to their alcohol consumption, and they can hold down a steady job. So for me, everything looked great on the outside, but I was struggling so much with my drinking. Like, so much. But the thing is I wasn't, homeless. My children were fed every night. I had a great home. I run a business. I was doing pretty good. But inside, I was drowning out a lot of my sorrows, pain, misery, like whatever. I had just learned to numb it out with alcohol. And honestly, inside me was shit. Outside, okay. Yes, of course, I had like inflammation, puffy face. I had all of those things. So much of that has gone away. I have a completely different face shape than I did last year. But really, like as a high functioning alcoholic, my life looked pretty normal. But I was suffering. Getting sober, I've realized that one of the big key factors of knowing that I was a high functioning alcoholic was the fact that I can't go without drinking. So let me give you this little test and you can try it out for yourself. So let's say you had a really long day at work. You're like, oh my gosh, I need to get home. You come home and you make yourself a drink. You enjoy that drink, you go to bed. You're most likely not an alcoholic. But here's where I want you to look at the difference. Is for me, I would come home, I had had a long day. Let's say maybe I'd had a great day and I wanted to celebrate. Either way, I wanted to do it with a drink. Now, I want you to look at those two scenarios, okay? Like, of course I was going to do that with a drink because I'm telling you guys that I'm an alcoholic. But on the other flip side, I want you to ask yourself, could you come home from a long day, if it was a rough day or was something you wanted to celebrate, and skip that drink? If that inside gives you the ultimate ick, as it would me, it would be so hard for me to skip. And I could have probably done it, but there's no way I could have kept doing it. And the internal panic would have been insane. So if that's you, it is highly likely that you're an alcoholic. There's lots of different scenarios that you can think of here. That's just one. But, if you couldn't picture yourself doing any sort of fitness challenge, like let's say 75 hard. I really wanted to do 75 hard a few years ago, but there is no way I could picture myself going 75 days without alcohol. In fact, I said, oh, I'll do it, but I'm still going to drink. I tried to do Whole30 once and I made it 2 weeks before I ended up blacked out, drunk in my backyard. So you kind of get my drift here. If it's super easy for you to do something like 75 hard and just not drink for 75 days, then you're probably not an alcoholic. But if it gives you the ultimate absolute ick, I'm going to die, someone come and save me, then you've got a problem and it's something you most likely need to look at. So was it easy to stop drinking alcohol? Absolutely not. Was it worth it? Absolutely. And I think this marker here at 9 months has given me so much clarity around that. I can look back it last year and see so many things. Okay, you guys, just to recap, I ran the 10K. I was a total binge drinker, and now I'm 9 months sober. Last year, I had multiple friends who were very, very toxic, and I couldn't see it. But you know what would happen is a lot of things would be projected onto me. And since I was a drinker, I was constantly in this guilt and shame cycle. You might also relate to this. You know, you feel guilty, you feel shame, you drink, you feel guilty, you feel ashamed, and it just cycles and cycles. Well, it was very easy for people to project things onto me. If there was any sort of tension going on in a relationship, especially a friend relationship, I took that on as my own problem because I was the king of being the guilt and shame cycle. I would be like, there must be something wrong with me. And now that I stopped drinking, you see things a lot clearer. Your clarity comes back and you're like, well, hold up a minute. Like, that's not necessarily true. And you start to see things differently. So I had 2 major toxic friendships last year. They're just not in my life anymore. And what I did realize was how amazing the friends in my life were. Friends that tell me all the time how proud they are of me. Friends that tell me they are so excited for me. Friends that literally get teary telling me about how much they've loved watching my journey. And that is such a beautiful thing to have in your life. I really didn't notice last year how much my family was really there for me, how much they were cheering me on, and how much they loved me. And I can see it all very, very clear now. So if you're thinking about going sober, I feel like it's almost getting trendy. A lot of people are talking about it. Big celebrities are talking about it. Tons of people on the internet are talking about it. But if you're thinking about it, do it. It will change your life, and so much can happen in a year. This will be the catalyst for the thing that shoots you forward, and you'll be sitting there like me, crossing a big milestone birthday, looking back and being like, oh my God, my life is completely different because I gave up that one thing, because I gave up alcohol, because you gave up a poison and you stopped lying to yourself. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you have more questions about alcohol, how I quit drinking, feel free to drop me a comment. I will make more videos. I will talk with you guys in the comments, and let's see if we can change the world one less drink at a time.